When we want to pick up stitches from a provisional cast on that was made without a crochet hook, it's easier to do it from left to right. Untie the ends of the scrap yarn and undo whatever knots you made there to keep the stitches from slipping off, and pull the end of the scrap yarn that is at the left side of the fabric, like this, to open up the edge stitch. If the stitch is not a slip knot, then it's going to be a tiny half stitch, and we pick it up the same way as we pick up the rest of the stitches. We insert the needle into that stitch from front to back, and if we are looking at the way the stitches are sitting on the scrap yarn, it's going to be from right to left. This stitch is small, so we need to ease the needle in. And if it is too small and you cannot insert the needle at all, then one trick is to take the strand that runs at the other side, the right side of that stitch, and then the tail that is at the left side of this stitch, and pull both strands up to open up the stitch. And then it's easier to insert the needle into that stitch. Again, from front to back or from right to left in this case. If even that is not enough, then use a needle in a smaller size, just like this. Then, see, it is much easier. The next thing we do is we pull this scrap yarn out of this stitch. And then we keep doing the same thing. We pull the yarn up, or both strands at both sides, to open up the stitch nicely. And then we insert the needle from front to back, like this, and take the scrap yarn out. If you have a lot of stitches, then as you take the scrap yarn out of many stitches, it will become longer and it will be annoying and slowing you down. So if that happens, then don't be shy and simply trim this yarn. It is a waste yarn. We are not supposed to keep it, to preserve it, and to actually treasure it in some way. We need it just to keep the stitches safe until this moment, and now if it slows us down, we simply trim it. If you decided to use a needle in a smaller size to pick up your stitches, you don't need to transfer the stitches to a bigger needle as you start working on your project. Simply take a needle in the correct size in your right hand and hold the needle, the smaller needle, with the stitches in your left hand, and keep working on the first row of your project. This will not mess up the tension of the fabric because the newly formed stitches will be the size of the bigger needle, the needle that you hold in the right hand, not in your left hand. When we want to pick up stitches from a crochet chain, a provisional cast on that's done with a crochet hook, we're gonna unravel the chain and pick up stitches sitting underneath it. The tricky part here is to find the right end of the chain, because a crochet chain unravels easily only from one end, not from both ends. If you remember where you stopped making crochet chain when you cast on stitches, then great, start from that end. If not, then look at the chain itself. It is built by a series of V's. And the end that we are looking for will be at the top of the V. So if you look at it this way, so these are my V's, so the top part of the V would be at this side. So I'm not going to start over here because that's the bottom of my V's. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to unravel the last stitch and unravel whatever chains you have if you made a few extra chains. So come to the chain that holds the first open stitch. And to be able to start working on the stitches right away, we're gonna pick them up from left to right. We insert the needle from front to back into the stitch that is underneath the first loop of the chain, right over here. Again, if it is concealed, if you don't see it clearly, then pull the chain up to open the stitch and then go in there. If that's not enough, then use a needle in a smaller size. Then undo the chain, pull the tail so that we undo this loop and come to the next loop, and then pick up the next stitch and do it again and again, picking up the stitches that were sitting under this chain waiting for their turn. When you get to the last stitch, it will be a half stitch, but we need it. Don't discard it. We need it because otherwise the number of stitches that we pick up would be one stitch short of the number of stitches that we cast on. So we need the stitch. We go from front to back like this and remove the yarn from that stitch. And now we have a nice set of stitches ready to continue our project. Happy knitting, my friend. I'll talk to you in the next tutorial.